Hey, what's going on, chess lover? This is Maurice Bishop. I wanted to share with y'all this book that just came yesterday to me. It's called the Sidestepping Main Theory. It talks about cutting down on opening study and get a middle game you are familiar with, and it just talks about certain principles. And they bring up the Grandmaster Emmanuel Lasker, which he always said that amateurs should always study their end game or study their opening. Probably like 5% of the time. Their main focus should be on middle games and end games. He said 5% for opening, so which is like pretty crazy and everything. But I did want to just share with y'all this game. I hope I'm saying these names right, but it was Rafael Vaganian versus Victor Krupacik. It's just crazy though, but it's with this game is actually talking about with this one in this position, Black is actually breaking the opening principles. And just to give you the things that they're talking about, the basic opening do's and don'ts. The central points are as follow. Number one, develop the pieces. Number two, control the center. Number three, be careful with early development of the queen. And on number four, don't move the same piece too many times before the other pieces are developed. And then five, don't make too many unnecessary pawn moves. And then number six is castle early. So he talks about that these are natural principles and it's just general. And I'm pretty sure if y'all been playing chess as long as I have, you grew up with that type of mindset. So I want to share with y'all this game to show you what they're talking about. So far so good. It's a very good book though. I will actually put the description or I'll put the link below for the book so that y'all can get. So y'all can just check it out. But so far so good. But I wanted to show y'all the game from this book. I thought it was pretty interesting. But white goes d4, knight f6, um, bishop g5, pawn c5, and then d5. Gaining control of the center. Queen b6. He breaks one of the principles. Don't bring your queen out too early. In which I know y'all, if y'all see my my other videos with the L shot opening, it brings the queen out early and all, and we break rules, but yet we make it happen. But for somebody that don't really understand opening principles or whatever things like that, you could kind of they might actually get hurt, for doing stuff like this. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta really know what you're doing. All right. But Queen B6 is played, and then Knight C3. Queen catches B2. Obviously, he's hitting the knight on C3, so White goes back to Bishop D2. Queen B6 is played, and then E4 is played. Then D6, and then F4, and then G6. Right. So White gains the center by going e5. He pushes the pawn. D captures, F captures, and then knight fd7, and then knight f3, defending that pawn on e5, right? So then bishop g7 comes and is attacking this pawn. Obviously, we wouldn't want to go with bishop f4 because we're moving the same piece twice. So we want to be real aggressive, controlling the center. So he goes e6. Um, yeah, F captures e6, and then actually, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm actually going back a little bit too far, actually. Or I'm moving a little bit too fast, I mean. Um, After knight fd7, yeah, knight f3, bishop g7, and then rook b1 comes first. He gets a tempo off the queen. The queen goes back to d8. So now, as you look at it, white has 1, 2, 3 pieces developed, and you can count this rook as well because it's already developed. It's on a b file and everything. Whereas these pieces are not developed at all. This one is kind of defensive, and this bishop is developed too. But as you see, it's going to be pretty tough. All right. So white definitely has a big advantage. But e6 come, f captures e6, and then knight g5. Knight g5 comes in. As you see, knight is capturing or ready to capture on e6, threatening the queen and the dark square bishop. Right. So then knight f6 is played, and then white hit him with bishop b5 check. So of course, the king goes to f8. That's where he goes. But just in case, if y'all want to know, if he comes to bishop d7, Can't go bishop d7 because this bishop is already pinning this bishop. So now you're giving white the advantage to go knight captures e6. And the bishop can't take this knight because of the bishop pinning this bishop. So now white is going to win in peace because he's already hitting the queen and he's already hitting this undefended dark square bishop. And then later on, once we take off this dark square bishop, we could potentially once this knight takes this dark square bishop, we could potentially protect it with uh, bishop a6, or we could just bring the knight back to e6 anyway. So we wouldn't even have to move this. We just bring it right back. So yeah, so white will actually win a piece and everything. All right. So after king f8, d captures e6, and then a6 is played, and then bishop e3. Oh my bad. I meant bishop e3, not bishop f4. Bishop e3. Why is this a good move? Well, obviously he can't take this light square bishop because then white will take his own queen. But if like for instance, let me show you something. I gotta move this first. All right, so this is the move that he played, queen a5, right? But let's say that the queen goes I don't know, queen captures d1, and then rook captures d1. He can't take this bishop because of rook d8 check, and then if he comes knight e8, then we have this threat of whoops, my bad, y'all. Rook f1 check. We have that one, and then if you try to block it off, we just win in pieces and everything, which is just crazy. And this is just crushing, 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 crushing. You know, so that's another. That's the reason why you don't want to just do that. You know what I mean? Rook captures d1, and then like I said, he could try to go knight c6 or whatever things like it don't matter which move he's doing, he's not going to be able to stop that king d8. And even if he does, and that's the crazy part, he can even go king e8 because of the bishop. So either way, it doesn't matter where his pieces goes. He's just going to be stuck. Even if you go knight e8 and everything, you still have this threat. Rook f1 check, and then you can come here, and then you technically still have this a bishop d7 or a bishop captures d8. You know, it just a lot of things. It's just crushing though, for real, for real. It's just very crushing. But anyway, queen a5 is played, and then he castles. As you know, he's pinning this knight on f6, and obviously the queen can't take on knight c3 because of the queen d8 check, which will also force a checkmate. If like for instance, he goes a6. This is where black goes. But if he would have decided to take on a catchers on b5, then you will have rook catchers b5. If he goes queen c7, then you got knight d5. And then if he goes queen d8, then we have bishop captures c5. And this is definitely crushing because we're threatening bishop captures e7, checking the king and winning this queen right here. We're also threatening knight f7, hitting the rook and the queen. It's just so many threats. I mean, we even got I mean, if we wanted to, we could do rook captures f6, or maybe not rook captures f6, but we can do I don't know. To me, I think the best move for me is with the bishop captures or knight f7. You know, it's just a lot of moves. This is just crushing. Like it's y'all can even look at this, analyze this yourself. This is just completely crushing. But anyway, a6 is played, and white goes queen d3. That's where he goes queen d3. You don't want to go for well before let's go here. This is where black goes. Black goes king g8. But the thing is, if he would have went h captures on g5, we got stuff like queen captures. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm over here moving too fast, real quick for y'all. Queen d3. Okay, yeah. So, because we're threatening queen capture g6. So yeah. So if this happens, ace capture g5. So I was right, y'all. So if this happens, we got queen captures on g6, and this is actually winning for um, this is winning for what you call it for white and everything. So I just really like this for white. All right, so Queen D3, King G8, and then Queen catches G6, and then Bishop catches E6. And the reason why you got to go Bishop catches E6 because he's threatening mate. But he goes Bishop catches E6. But if for some reason he went Ace catches G5, then we got Queen F7 check, King H7, and then Bishop D3 with a check, and we're fortunate mate because the only way he can really stop it is with this knight on E4. But either way, we're just gonna take, like for instance, we'll just go knight E4, Bishop catches E4, and then if he goes King H6, that's really the only place he could go. Then this is mate. So it's nothing that he could really do with that. So that's why he goes Bishop captures E6, Knight captures E6, and then Rook A7 to prevent Queen captures G7 with a checkmate, and then what's the next move? Rook captures F6, which is the move, and then already we're threatening Queen E8, which is why Black only move is Knight D7, and then Bishop captures D7. So Black resigns in this game. So the whole point that I'm making about this is if you look at this game, it all started out with this queen move. Number one, he moves his queen out too early, so he broke um principle number one. He moved his queen out early. Um yeah, so that was the first move was queen b6, and then he moved it twice with queen catches b2. We go bishop d2. So he moved the queen like 3 times, and then e4, d6, and then Black never gained no control of the center, which he broke another principle, which is number two. He broke principle number two, not gaining control of the center. Um, G6, E5, D catchers, F catchers, E5, Knight F7. I mean, Knight F to D7, then Knight F3, Bishop G7, then Rook B1. He gets another tempo. That queen move is moved like 4 times in a row, you know what I mean, off of that alone. And he already broke principle number three because he really didn't develop none of his pieces at all. So if you think about it, a lot of his principles in the opener is he broke a lot of principles, and then another print that he broke is the fact that the king is still in the center of the board. He didn't castle early, so that's like 4 or 5 principles that's broken throughout this whole game. And they teach you like in this book, like I said, with this book, this teaches you like certain principles shouldn't be broken. So I mean, it's a good lesson to learn, but like I said, it's some principles that I break and everything, but as long as you know what you're doing. So there's a lot of gray areas, in certain principles or whatever. But I think from getting down to the basic or whatever, I mean, this is pretty this is a well thought out book, and like I said, it really goes by the theory of Emmanuel Lasker. How it says Emmanuel Lasker argued that improving amateurs should spend about 5% of their study time on openings. These days, club players are probably closer to 80%, often focusing on opening lines that are popular among grandmasters. So, like I said, man, I'm gonna put the link in the description box. Definitely check it out, and definitely let me know what y'all think. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, please share, please comment. Let me know your thoughts, and also don't forget to subscribe, y'all. All right, y'all. Peace.